one may gain this pleasure, but it is the very source of sorrow. Why? Because when we gain this pleasure, we want to repeat it. And the more and more we repeat, the more and more attached we become. And the more we become attached, we fail to turn our attention within. And we get what you call bound by this world, addicted to the world. Actually, addiction to the world. We talk about all these addictions and all, but an ignorant person is addicted to the pleasures of the world so strongly that the attention just doesn't shift from there. It's like some dogs and all, they're very much interested in certain type of food and this and that. Their attention goes there only. Sometimes they are very, very attentive like. उनके बर्तन का जब आवाज आता है, then they're alert like. Otherwise they're just lying down near the sofa or somewhere and all. You are watching television, but they is not interested. You are all excited and all. But the dog is not interested. When the goal is scored, you jump like anything. Dog gets frightened. Then again he sits quietly. So he is not interested in the television. He is not interested in all the noise which is coming from the box and from anywhere else. But then suddenly he hears some special sound and suddenly he becomes alert. Because he hears the sound of his bartan in the kitchen. He knows, yes, time to feed the dog. And he gets attracted towards it. And suppose that time you tell the dog to come here, go there, do this, that, catch the ball and all, he's not interested. That attention is there only. However much you try to withdraw the attention of the dog, he is not interested. Similarly, the senses are like the dog, which gets attracted powerfully to the sense objects. That person says, okay, now I have studied Vedanta and all, now withdraw your attention. What withdraw attention? Even when we sit for meditation with the eyes closed, intense desire to open the eyes and see what is happening comes. I tell you, if you practice meditation, you must have experienced this. बीच में आँख खोल के हम देखते कौन क्या कर रहा है वहाँ पे. And at the same time, other fellow also gets the similar desire. And he looks at you. Both of you smile at each other. Smile of understanding. Yeah, maybe. आप भी हाँ मैं भी. Again they close the eyes. Because it's not possible. Closing eyes is possible, but who will stop the mind from going out? It wants to go out through the senses. So it actually, eyes are closed, so sometimes the mind manages with the remaining senses. Ears are open, so वहाँ से चले जाता है. Nose is open, वहाँ से देखता है, सुगंध वगैरह. Or, very interesting, the mind says, forget about present, I will go in the past. So it goes into the past sense pleasures which it had gained. So it goes action replay. It doesn't matter. Suddenly it starts smiling and all. Why? Because कल के पकोड़े जो खाए थे उसका स्मरण करके that fellow is very happy. So whether mind goes through the senses in the present moment or whether the mind goes through the senses remembering the past, same thing. It's very difficult for the mind to withdraw. But when we study the scriptures, when we contemplate, when we investigate exactly where the sukha lies, when we do some atma-anatma vivek, the difference between the self and that which is not the self, through satsang, various means, slowly and steadily we will gain this vairagya. So Bhagavan here is pointing out the defects in this pleasure. So that is one way to gain vairagya. Vairagya we attain when we come to know the defect in that which we are attached to. That is one way. It is temporary, but it is a powerful. Like suppose you are sitting to eat something and suddenly you find that some cockroach is there or something is fallen down. Immediately you gain vairagya. अरे कॉकरोच निकाल के खा लो, कॉकरोच निकाल के वो खीर खा लो, अच्छी है, ऐसे. That is called vairagya. Why vairagya? You don't like kheer? No, I like it. Then the cockroach है अंदर. So that is called dosha drishti. उसमें जब defect दिखाई देता है, but that doesn't mean you have become free of your attachment to kheer. You will try to eat the other kheer which is free from cockroach. So that is a temporary way of gaining vairagya. Permanent way is to know that the sukha lies within. The very nature of our self is happiness. And also we can experience this happiness when the mind starts becoming more and more calm and peaceful. It is directly proportional. The experience of the happiness of the self in the initial stages directly proportional to the quietude of our mind. So as the mind becomes more and more peaceful, you feel very happy from within. No need for any sense objects. So this understanding will help. So Bhagavan says, you first understand that all these sense pleasures, bhogaha, dukkha yonaya evate, they are the very source. Yoni means source of dukkha, of sorrow. Because they create attachment, they create addiction. And they are not lasting, adyantavantaha. The pleasure is experienced when we are directly in contact with it. That is the time we are experiencing the pleasure. Later on we remember and try to derive, we try to extend the pleasure a little bit more. Suppose I gain pleasure of eating, so only when I am eating I get that pleasure. Later on I remember it and I try to get some pleasure out of it. Remembrance. And this causes, when the pleasure goes away, it creates vacuum. Immediately a vacuum is created in the life. Then again we seek another pleasure to fill that vacuum. Then as soon as it is over, again a vacuum is created. One who depends on his or her joy or this pleasure on the world outside constantly experiences this vacuum. And that is what we mean by boredom or monotonous life or अच्छा नहीं लगता है, I want some change, I want to go here, there. That vacuum is created. And the another thing about this pleasure is that once we gain a particular unit of pleasure through an object, next time that same pleasure is gained by having more of that object, more and more. The intensity of that pleasure keep on reducing. Sometimes that object also, if we take more and more, the intensity keep on. एक लड्डू से अच्छा लगता है, दो लड्डू से we feel the pleasure will become double. Sometimes it become double, but after 4 or 5 laddus, it starts reducing. And the 10th laddu, suddenly pleasure disappears. क्या हो गया? Pain शुरू हो गया है. And you go to the doctor, doctor says ये दवाई खा लो. अरे दवाई खाने के लिए जगह होती तो और एक लड्डू खा लेता हूँ. So the pain starts. So Bhagavan says dukkha yonayah, they are the very source of dukkha, sorrow. Because sarvam atmavasam sukham, sarvam paravasham dukkham, because it makes me dependent on something. Whenever there is dependency, there is sorrow. Whether you are depending on object or person or place, sorrow is guaranteed. Because people are not there to all the time give pleasure or give happiness to us. They have their own pleasure-seeking program. So our conditions don't get fulfilled and we feel miserable. If we derive a pleasure, it is gained because of so many factors involved. Sometimes we go try to repeat the same pleasure, but we say, "Arey, kal ki tarah nahi hai. I don't get the same. What happened?" Because things have changed. Your mind has changed. The person has changed. So this fellow goes to the hotels, he says, "Us din, this what type of thing you brought, this food is not good. Last week मैं आया था कितना अच्छा था." He says, "आप इतना कंप्लेन क्यों करते? लास्ट वीक का ही तो मैंने दिया हूँ. Why you are complaining unnecessarily?" So it is not the same. So dukkha yonaya evate, they are the very source of dukkha. Adyanta, another problem with this, adyantavanta, adi and antavanta. The pleasure has a beginning. When we come in contact with the object, it begins, the pleasure begins. And when the contact is lost, the pleasure comes to an end. We remember, remembering the pleasure is not the same. The pleasure comes to an end. And that which was experienced in between also is not really pleasure, it's just an illusion. Because that which is not there in the beginning and which is not there at the end, in between, it is just an appearance. That is the law. That which was not there in the beginning and which will not remain in the end, if it appears only for a short time in between, it is just an appearance. And appearance cannot give us lasting joy. And all of us are seeking lasting joy in the field, in the world of appearance. All of us are seeking lasting joy in temporary objects, in temporary situations, in temporary relationship, in temporary body. What are we seeking? Lasting joy, which is not possible. So, adyantavanta kaunteya, hey kaunteya, these are all